So
Yeah,
how does the CCD help you today and in the future, buddy?
so it's exactly what you guys have been saying, right? So the point of the DE is not to understand the configuration details of how to do stuff. It's about understanding what capabilities a technology brings to your solution, and understand how your solution solves a problem for the business. So you've already touched on this, Sig, about understanding the business requirements and the constraints that are around that, which is what Orhan was talking about, with having to have the trade-off scenario where you look at the technologies you want to deploy, you understand where it brings benefit and where it brings issues, and you balance all those things out to give the best solution. What do we mean by the best solution? That's the problem that Orhan was talking about. The point is that you have a set of requirements and you have to try and meet those requirements. And typically what that's about is making sure that the IT service that runs over that network that you're trying to build is available. So you've got to understand what we mean by that availability, and be able to understand what the impact of your network design at a top level has on that availability, right? All of that feeds in. So from looking at that, what that means now and what that means to the person who's doing the studying, really it's from my journey and most people who go through the DE, it's about, as you say, Zig, that mindset shift. It's about saying, right, look, I've learned how to configure things. I've gone through that process. I've got experience of doing that. I may have got certified in that. Some people go as far as the CCIE, some don't, because they don't necessarily need to. But it's about them being able to go, right, I get how that configuration and low-level design stuff works, because I understand how to bolt things together. But what I now need to do is change my view, get a lot broader, understand how services work and why they work the way they work, and then understand the impact that has on the network design. It broadens your view, that change of mindset, and it allows you to talk in a different language, right? So you touched on this, Sig, about being able to think about the business concerns. You can take your higher level view and you can go talk to someone in the business or go talk to someone in operations and explain to them why it is the technology choices you're making help them. And for me, that's the key to this. It's that thing of being able to, yes, I can sit and talk to someone who knows how to configure this stuff, right? I can explain to them why you might choose to use a particular routing protocol in a particular way, or why you might not want to play with spanning tree over two interconnected data centers, or all of those kinds of conversations. But I can also then take that same information in a different form and go speak to the server infrastructure team and explain to them why that's a bad thing, or take that to the business and say, well, actually, that might impact your availability in this way, and so on and so forth. And so it is being able to have all of those different viewpoints, I suppose, at the high level.
Does that make sense? Great. Yeah, I think that's great, Daren, really. And I like to call this term, and I hate to put myself on the soapbox, but like, I'll be real quick, right? I think the CCDE lets you actually bridge that gap. And I say that gap is you're bridging the technology side of things and you're to the business side of things. And business can be really anything, right? Like you had some examples there of talking to different departments, different kind of owners of, I would say, business lines of efforts. So your applications team or the server team or whoever you're working with, now you can go to them and say, hey, this is why we're doing this from a technology perspective, and it maps to this business effort. And it's really clear. It's really clear cut. No, I think that's great. Hey, Mohamed, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, I agree, 100% agree. Even it's happened to myself. I've been working on design since 2005 for the last 15 years. And I notice a difference with when I work on a new project, with meeting customer, when asking questions. One of the skills you will learn with CCD, how to ask a question, how to gather information. If you are meeting CTO, what kind of question you ask, completely different than if you are meeting one of the engineers on the ground. So it's add a lot. Even some people I work with and I help them through their journey. What I really love, not in addition that they maybe get the CCD magic number, is they tell me that after CCD we got this architect role in Amazon, or we got this architect role in a big enterprise. So they themselves saw the difference and saw the change which CCDE brought to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about the viewpoints and and being able to look at it from different angles for sure.
So
exactly. So do you want to, maybe I'll open it up for 30 seconds to a minute for the other panelists, if you guys have any other thoughts on this question, and then we'll move on to the next question. Orhan or Stuart, do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I was talking, but it was muted. At the point while Daren came to my mind, I want to say for very advanced targeting guys to job, or there is no better thing to get another job. Probably CCD is not for you. You should consider CCIE. The reason for this, CCD, as I told, they're abstracted. So you are deciding the architecture. So, and some domain experts, security people, wireless people, classical network engineer who need to troubleshoot, who need to deploy the things, those will do their job. They will implement, they will deploy, but you will decide the architecture. And as you might know, today vendors are deciding most of the time, or CTO, those people, they say, yeah, we already decided. So pre-made decisions are known as constraints, okay, in design. So constraints are there, already, it's ready. So vendors are coming and saying, okay, we will do this. We will ACI, they will maybe do this. Integrator people, they will do. So people not look lots of CCD. No, maybe 1% and 99% will be against CCIE. This is not changing. Don't forget this. But if you want to be in that 1% as an architect, yes, CCD for that.
Yeah. Just to finish on that one, obviously the CCIE, the new version of the CCIEs that were sort of released earlier this year, they all incorporate an element of design in the lab experience. So the lab experience now is about going through a design process, a build process, and an operate process, and it's all built into the 8-hour day. What it doesn't do is talk about the level of design and architecture that we're talking about today. Okay, this is very much about how you put a solution together when you know what the elements are. What we're talking about is how you decide what technologies you want to implement and why. And there's a very clear demarcation between the two. Okay, it's that high level design, low level design. It's even higher than high level design because it's architecture and at high level design, and on the DE side, and it's low level design on the IE side. And I'm going to leave it there because we've got not much time and lots of stuff to get through.
So quick, can you give 30 seconds, give an example of those? Like what would be an architectural high level example?
Well, so we just talked to Orhan mentioned ACI there when he was talking. So from an architectural perspective, what you might do is make the decision. Oh, I want to use ACI because it gives me all this capability in terms of the constructs that I want to use, the security, the scalability, and those sorts of things at a high level. In an IE context, what that's more like in a low level design is like saying, well, I've got to build an ACI fabric, so I need to put the spine switches here and the leaf switches there, and this is how I connect them to the WAN and that sort of thing. So it's the specifics of the implementation, right? As opposed to making the decisions about what you're going to implement and why. It's about how you do the implementation, and that's the difference.
Awesome, thanks, Daren. I appreciate it.